Some cars are fast. Some are beautiful. Some are rare. But only one car is all three, and has become the most coveted automobile on Earth. This is the Ferrari 250 GTO. A $70 million legend that rules them all. 1. Born to win. Some cars are fast. Some are beautiful. Some are rare. But only one car is all three, and has become the most coveted automobile on Earth. This is the Ferrari 250 GTO. A $70 million legend that rules them all. In the early 1960s, Enzo Ferrari had a mission to dominate the world of GT racing. But he faced a challenge. The FIA required that GT cars competing in the championship be homologated, meaning they had to build at least 100 road-going examples. Enzo wasn't interested in building 100. Instead, he set out to create just enough to qualify, and make every single one count. In 1962, his team unveiled the 250 GTO, a car designed to meet the rules but also to obliterate the competition. The brilliant engineer Giotto Bizzarini led the development. He took the proven 250 GT SWB chassis, added a more aerodynamic body shaped through relentless wind tunnel testing, and squeezed in the legendary 3-liter Colombo V12 from Ferrari's race-winning sports cars. When you see the result, it's clear why this machine has become a legend. Its long hood, low roofline, sculpted curves, every angle tells a story of speed, function, and beauty crafted into one. 2. A racing phenomenon. From the moment it hit the track, the 250 GTO proved unstoppable. With 300 horsepower, a lightweight aluminum body, and perfect balance, it danced through corners and roared down straights, leaving rivals in the dust. Between 1962 and 1964, the GTO won the FIA GT World Championship 3 consecutive years, a feat no other car had accomplished before. It triumphed at Sebring, the Nürburgring, Le Mans, and countless circuits across the world. In its first year alone, it scored a staggering first or second place finish in nearly every race it entered. But the GTO was more than just fast, it was reliable, forgiving, and competitive even against prototype cars that were far more advanced. Drivers adored it, calling it the perfect race car for gentlemen racers and professionals alike. The GTO became the ultimate Ferrari and an icon of 1960s motorsport. 3. The rarity factor. Part of what makes the Ferrari 250 GTO so special is how few exist. Although Ferrari claimed he'd build 100, only 36 were ever made between 1962 and 1964. Each was hand-built, with slight variations. No two are truly identical. Some have subtle differences in bodywork, some in interior details, some in engine tuning. Every GTO is a unique piece of history, with its own racing story, its own scars and victories. Because of this, they've become the most sought-after collector cars in the world, and owning one is like owning a masterpiece by Michelangelo or Da Vinci. They're not just cars, they're rolling art, and symbols of a bygone era. 4. Record-breaking value. In the decades since, the 250 GTO has become the holy grail of car collecting. As collectors and enthusiasts recognized its rarity, beauty, and history, prices skyrocketed. In the 1980s, they sold for hundreds of thousands. By the 2000s, for millions. And in 2018, a pristine GTO sold for over $70 million at private auction, making it the most expensive car ever sold. That figure isn't just about money, it represents a reverence for what this car stands for, an unrepeatable moment in automotive history, when passion and competition created something perfect. 5. The legacy lives on. Even today, the Ferrari 250 GTO continues to inspire awe. At concours events, vintage races, and museums, whenever a GTO appears, crowds gather. Its sound, that high-pitched V12 wail, still gives goosebumps. Its lines still make hearts skip a beat. And its legend only grows with each passing year. Owners of GTOs are part of an exclusive club, not just of wealth, but of appreciation for automotive heritage. These cars are not locked away in vaults. Many are still driven, raced, and shared with the public, keeping the spirit alive. It's a reminder of what Ferrari was and still aspires to be, the pinnacle of racing and beauty combined. 6. The masters behind the machine. Behind every legend stands the minds who brought it to life. The Ferrari 250 GTO was the result of vision, rivalry, and relentless pursuit of perfection. Enzo Ferrari, known as Illinois Commendator, set the tone. Nothing short of domination would satisfy him. But it was Giotto Bizzarini, an engineer with a genius for innovation, who shaped the car's foundation. After Bizzarini left Ferrari during the infamous Palace Revolt of Engineers, Mauro Forghieri stepped in to carry the GTO project to the finish line. Scaglietti's craftsmen then took these plans and shaped the aluminum panels entirely by hand. There were no computer simulations, no 3D scans, just skill, instinct, and endless trial and error. They worked long nights, pounding sheets of metal into perfect curves. Wind tunnels were crude, yet effective. Each car was individually tested and adjusted, meaning every GTO had a slightly different personality. What they created wasn't just competitive, it was a work of art born of human touch and ingenuity, reflecting the spirit of an era when every car had a soul. 7. Rivals and victories. The 250 GTO didn't win because there was no competition, it won because it faced fierce, determined rivals and still came out on top. In the early 1960s, GT racing was the battleground of giants. Aston Martin fielded the DB4 GT Zagato, Jaguar had its fearsome E-Type lightweight, and Shelby unleashed his Cobras on the scene. The GTO had to face all of them, often on their home turf. On the circuits of Le Mans, Sebring, Nürburgring, and Goodwood, the battles were fierce. In 1963, Jaguar's E-Type was lighter, Shelby's Cobra was more powerful, and Aston's Zagato was elegant and fast. Yet, the Ferrari consistently outlasted and outperformed them, thanks to its balance of power, handling, and durability. It wasn't just about raw speed, the GTO's reliability meant it finished races others couldn't. This resilience became its defining trait, winning both sprint races and grueling endurance contests. 8. The driver's stories. While the car was extraordinary, it was the drivers who turned it into a legend. Men like Phil Hill, Olivier Gendebien, Pedro Rodriguez, and Graham Hill, all giants of motorsport, piloted the GTO to victory. But it wasn't just the professionals. Many gentleman drivers also raced the GTO, wealthy enthusiasts who were talented and brave enough to compete at high levels. Their stories are often overlooked, tales of crossing continents just to race, of battling rain and fatigue for 12 or 24 hours straight. Drivers formed bonds with their cars, learning to trust the GTO's limits, pushing it just enough without breaking it. For many, the GTO wasn't just a tool, it was a partner, a friend, and a symbol of their own daring. These personal narratives give the GTO its human side. Every dent, every scrape, every faded sticker on these cars tells a story of grit and glory. 9. The disappearance of an era. The world that created the Ferrari 250 GTO didn't last. By 1964, racing regulations changed. New cars, like the Ferrari 275 GTB and mid-engine prototypes, pushed the GTO aside. Advances in aerodynamics, tires, and engines made it obsolete on the racetrack. Even its elegant design started to look old-fashioned compared to the brutalist shapes of the late 1960s. 10. GTO reunions, when legends meet again. Every few years, something magical happens. Ferrari 250 GTO owners gather together, sometimes at Goodwood, sometimes at Pebble Beach, sometimes on private tracks, and bring their cars out of hiding. These events are called GTO reunions. They're not public races or car shows. They're private celebrations of the greatest car ever made. And they are, quite simply, breathtaking. Imagine seeing a dozen GTOs, red, blue, green, silver, parked together under the Italian sun. Engines rumbling, exhausts crackling, leather interiors gleaming. It's like watching rock stars reunite after decades apart. These reunions often involve spirited driving sessions, historic displays, dinners with collectors, and even parades through iconic European roads. But they're more than just fun drives. They're history in motion. For the owners, it's about sharing knowledge, stories, and respect. For historians, it's about studying the subtleties, the different chassis numbers, the original welds, the unique grills and badges. For spectators lucky enough to sneak a peek, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. These gatherings remind the world that the GTO isn't locked in a museum. It still breathes. It still moves. It still roars. 11. Colors of glory, the GTO's unique liveries. When most people imagine a Ferrari 250 GTO, they picture it in classic Rosso Corsa red, that brilliant, fiery color that seems to glow under the sun. But the truth is, the GTO wore a remarkable array of colors during its racing career, each telling its own story, each tied to a team, a driver, a moment in history. Some were painted in the deep blue and white stripes of the North American racing team, a striking contrast that represented Ferrari's American contingent. Others wore the British racing green of UK entrants, or even silver to represent German drivers. And then there were the custom one-offs, sky blue with yellow accents, or dark midnight blue, or even bare aluminum left unpainted to save weight. These liveries weren't just aesthetic choices. In the era of national racing colors, they were badges of honor. Even today, collectors strive to preserve these original liveries, restoring the cars exactly as they raced decades ago. At vintage events, you can sometimes see a grid of GTOs shimmering like a painter's palette, red, green, blue, silver, each telling a story through its colors. It's a reminder that these cars weren't static showpieces. They were living, breathing competitors, each one unique. 12. The drivers, heroes behind the wheel. Of course, no story about the GTO is complete without the men who tamed it on the track. The 250 GTO wasn't a car for the faint of heart. It demanded skill, focus, and courage, and it rewarded those who mastered it. Legends like Phil Hill, John Surtees, Mike Parks, and Pedro Rodriguez piloted the GTO to victory after victory. But it wasn't just professional racers. Many GTOs were sold to wealthy amateurs, gentlemen drivers, who would drive their cars to the track, race them all weekend, and then drive them home again. One such man, Count Volpi of Venice, campaigned his GTO with flair and tenacity, battling professional teams and sometimes beating them outright. In America, drivers like Maston Gregory and Roger Penske took the GTO to Sebring and Daytona, bringing Ferrari glory on American soil. What made the GTO remarkable was its accessibility. Professionals pushed it to its limits, extracting every ounce of performance, while amateurs could still enjoy its forgiving nature and remarkable balance. It was a car that connected man and machine in a way few others ever have. And thanks to those drivers, the GTO became more than a machine, it became a legend with a soul. 13. The survivors, stories of the 36. Out of the 36 Ferrari 250 GTOs built, all but one survive to this day, an astonishing testament to the care and reverence these cars have always commanded. Some have been lovingly preserved in their original condition, still wearing their battle scars from Le Mans or Nürburgring. Others have been painstakingly restored to Concours standards, gleaming as they did the day they left Maranello. But every GTO carries its own unique story. Chassis number 3705 GT, for example, won its class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Chassis 4153 GT was raced by Lucien Bianchi and later became one of the most famous examples, selling for a record-breaking sum. Chassis 4293 GT won the Tour de France Automobile, a grueling multi-day event of racing and endurance. These survivors are more than just cars. They are pieces of history, chapters in a grand narrative of motorsport and passion. Every scratch, every dent, every weld tells a story, of victory, of defeat, of perseverance. And because so few exist, each survivor is known by heart to collectors and historians. Their chassis numbers are recited like sacred verses, their histories documented down to the smallest detail. The 36 are not just cars, they are legends, each with its own identity, and each cherished beyond measure. 14. The imitators and replicas, chasing the dream. With only 36 authentic GTOs in existence, and prices soaring beyond the reach of all but the wealthiest collectors, it's no surprise that many have tried to capture a piece of the GTO dream through replicas and recreations. Some are crafted from lesser Ferrari 250s of the era, reshaped and rebodied to mimic the GTO's curves. Others are built from scratch by skilled artisans, blending original parts with new craftsmanship to create incredibly convincing copies. These replicas, while controversial in some circles, keep the spirit of the GTO alive for enthusiasts who would otherwise never have the chance to experience one. Some are used in vintage racing, where owners of real GTOs understandably hesitate to risk their priceless machines. There are even official Ferrari Classisch-certified tribute cars acknowledging the legitimacy of these efforts while maintaining a clear distinction from the originals. The existence of so many replicas only reinforces the GTO's magic. People don't replicate ordinary cars. They replicate legends. And no matter how perfect a copy might be, nothing will ever truly replace the real thing, the 36 originals that wear the crown. 15. The eternal inspiration. More than 60 years after its debut, the Ferrari 250 GTO continues to inspire car designers, engineers, artists, and enthusiasts alike. Its influence can be seen in every Ferrari that followed, from the 275 GTB to the F12 TDF to the Monza SP1 and SP2. Even the modern Daytona SP3 echoes the spirit of the GTO, blending heritage with cutting-edge performance. Automotive journalists still rank it as the greatest sports car of all time. Car enthusiasts around the world dream of just seeing one in person, let alone owning one. Model makers, painters, and filmmakers immortalize its shape in every medium imaginable. Why does it endure? Perhaps because it was built in a perfect moment, a time when racing and road cars were still intertwined, when craftsmanship met competition, when beauty was born from necessity rather than marketing. The GTO is more than nostalgia. It is proof that perfection can be achieved, at least once. Every time it fires up, every time its V12 screams down a track, every time someone whispers its name, the legend grows. And long after we're gone, the Ferrari 250 GTO will still rule them all, eternal, untouchable, and unforgettable.